Hello and welcome to another edition of Active Living. Today we have with us our traveling man, Jim Roback. Jim has been traveling around the world again. This time he's been in South America. So Jim, welcome to the program.
Thanks, George.
So tell us about where in the world did you go this time?
Well, this is an interesting trip. We actually went to South America and basically visited 4 countries. It was Brazil, Argentina, Chile, and then finally to the middle of the ocean, which is Easter Islands, where the Moai statues are.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And we can start basically in Rio, and we flew from Miami to Rio. It's a tourist city basically with a long beach, and the beach there that is on in Rio is called Copacabana.
All right.
And that's part of the beach, and then further on it's called Ipanema Beach, which is, remember the song Ipanema, the girl from Ipanema?
So absolutely. I play that all the time on the saxophone.
Oh, do you?
Oh, yeah.
It's a great song, and it's an amazing beach. It's so clean. They put a lot of volleyball nets on there. They got sand art, and it's amazing the amount of people that are there. It's nice and warm, and a lot of bikini bathing suits to see also. There's no doubt about that.
I didn't know they wore bikinis down there, Jim.
Oh, yes, a lot of them. They don't show much, I'll tell you. I mean, nothing left to imagination, I'll tell you there.
But I understand like you say, it's a real nice beach. Now they also have a carnival there every year, right?
They do. It was earlier this year, and this year the Rio is going to be hosting the Olympics in 2016.
Okay.
And there's basically 4 or 5 major attractions there. Firstly is naturally the Christ Redeemer statue.
Right.
It sits up on Corcovado Hill. It's at 2,400 feet, and the statue is 125 feet high. And you take a railway up to the top there, and then you actually spend time up there, and they have a little altar underneath the statue, and you view the whole city. It's a very panoramic view. It's something you really see. It's unbelievable. It's considered one of the 7 wonders of the New World.
Really?
Yes, it is. And then we
now, can you get inside the statue?
No, just in the altar underneath it. No.
Okay.
But they did have a problem there. They had lightning strike it, and they were fixing the arm about 2 months ago.
Okay.
And they had some guy on the edge there. I saw it on TV, and I said, "Oh my God, no way for me. That's too high and crazy, man." I mean, whoever did that. So, and then the other major thing in Rio is the Sugarloaf Mountain, which you take a cable car from the bottom, you take up to the first mountain, and then from there to the second one. And we reached there about maybe 10 o'clock in the morning. And it was a little foggy, you couldn't see much until about an hour started to clear up. And it's, again, another panoramic view of the whole city. You see whole downtown Rio, you see the Copacabana, the beach where we stayed at, basically. We stayed right across the beach from the beach there at the hotel. And interesting there, too, is that along the sidewalk, they have a special design. It's kind of black and white, it's got curly in there. If you go to Ipanema Beach, Ipanema, it's got a different design. So every area's got a different design of the concrete. That's what you walk on and you ride on. It's very interesting, saying very clean and really something to see there in Rio.
Well, how large a city is Rio? It's got to be huge.
Yeah, I think it's about 3 million people.
Okay.
And where Sao Paulo, which is the major city, is like 21 million. So a lot of most live in Sao Paulo. We went on a Jeep tour also at Botanical Gardens. Went up to the top of the mountain again and went again to see the view of the city. There's a big cathedral there. It looks like a pyramid, basically, and it's a big church there, and it's really, really interesting. They had stained glass windows in there, very high, and really a beautiful church there.
Was this like an organized tour?
Yes, it is. It's an escorted tour with Gate 1. Give them a plug there. They do a very good job, excellent job. And also went to, we saw the favelas. These are the poor sections of Rio. Yet they're the working class of people, but the homes are very unique in the respect that they're high definition of color, like orange and the yellows and greens and all that. And they're working class people, but it's the poor section of Rio, and it's quite large. And but we didn't have a chance to go into them. There is a tour that you go into. We didn't have a chance to do that.
Okay.
It'd nice to have been able to do that.
So how many days did you spend in Rio?
It was 3 days.
Okay.
And one of the things we did is we went to what they call a breakfast, not a breakfast, but a dinner. It's called in Brazil they call it porcao is one, and then the other name they call is churrascaria. And what it is, you go in these restaurants, they have this big salad bar, you can eat all you want there, and then they have these waiters come around, they have these meats on skewers, and they carve it off on your plate.
Oh, fantastic.
And they just keep coming, they got sausage, they got filet, they got pork, they got anything you want, chicken, they just kept coming around until you say no more. Okay. And then you just they just feed you like no end. And we had a chance to go in the kitchen and see them on the skewers as they are rotating and baking them there.
Right.
So it's kind of interesting. I took 2 people back there. We're not allowed, but they allowed me to go back there. So I wanted to show the people how it's done. So that was real and a lot to see there. And we also went to a jewelry shop there. It was called H. Stern, and they're around the world. And this is one of the things that they gave us was the Sugarloaf Mountain little let's say, trinket here. And we saw one gem there that was from Russia. It was valued at $2.5 million. It was no bigger than the pea, basically.
Really?
It's a rare, rare gem. It's unbelievable. So from there, we left Rio, and then we went to Iguazu Falls. It's pronounced Iguazu.
Iguazu.
Iguazu. The I is pronounced like an E and the J like a W, I guess, and you put the accent on the last part, Iguazu. And these falls are the most incredible. We flew from Rio, like say, to the Brazilian side of Iguazu Falls. And in this falls here is basically 2.5 miles wide. And
so compared to Niagara Falls,
oh man,
it's
you would just drop Niagara Falls, you never find it.
Really?
Because it's 2.5 miles across. It's got 275 cataracts, and it's larger than Victoria Falls, and you could drop both of them in there. You wouldn't even know they're there. I mean, it's unbelievable how dramatic and beautiful it is. I mean, it's just so many falls and cascading, and they've done a tremendous job of providing walkways. You can get very close right up to the falls, see it drop down, and you get soaking wet in a lot of places.
Really?
A lot of butterflies in the area as you're walking down these beautiful paths. And one of the butterflies had the number 88 on its wings on both sides. You can see 88 on there. It's truly amazing, and so it's an unforgettable place to visit. And then we went to the Argentina side the next day, and the same thing. They had these walkways go right out to the edge of the falls, in which they call it the Devil's Throat, and you're just right there, and you get again soaking wet, and it's just an awesome sight to see. I mean, it's just incredible. If one wants to see falls, this is the one you have to see.
Now, was the weather good while you were down there?
Oh yeah, it was always good. In the 70s every day, basically.
Really?
Low 70s every day, yes. It was very, very nice and warm. And after we saw the falls, we also went to another dinner they called a barbecue. And once again, they barbecued was chicken, steak, blood sausage. I haven't blood sausage in 20 years, so I had some blood sausage. It was pretty decent. It was pretty good there. And when you go to the Argentina side, you have to take a rail car up to the falls there, and then you get off and you go all the way to the walkways. And then they have the lower cataracts, and the lower cataracts, we walk down the other part of the falls there. And so it's just, you're up so close to the waterfall, it's amazing. You have that chance to see, compared to Niagara Falls. You see it close, but this is even more dramatic. It's just unreal. It's just something to see. And then there was a little animal that we saw. It looked like a raccoon. And they would go all around. They would be burrowing for food in the dirt, but then people would feed them. And they're like little raccoons. They had the ring-tailed tails. And they're all over the place, you know, and they didn't want to feed them, but they're there. And then
so everybody feeds them anyway.
Everybody feeds them anyway. They're up in the trees, and they're on the sidewalk. They're all over the place. They're cute little devils. I mean, they all come as a family. There might be 5 or 6 in a group all the time. Really? They're really, really interesting animals there. And when we went to our hotel there, we went to a place in Argentina where the river came, the 2 rivers, the Parana River and the Iguazu River. And on one side was Brazil here. Then there was Paraguay, and we were on the Argentina side. They had like a buoy that shows the 3 countries there. And it was kind of nice. So we have a picture, and when we go through this talk, you'll see this in the film there. So that was the falls. I mean, but that is just one of the most awesome sights you would ever see in visiting South America. We have to see Iguazu Falls. So
compared to, like I said before, compared to Niagara Falls, it's like
it's like night and day. Oh, night and day. Like I say, you could drop it, you wouldn't even be able to find it. You wouldn't even be able to find it. No, because they go over 300 feet. They go in 2 tiers, and it's just a lovely place to visit. So you can't miss it if you go there. And then from there, we left Argentina and from the falls and went to Buenos Aires. Before we went to Buenos Aires, we stopped at a school, an elementary school, and we saw the kids there. And Gate 1 provides funds to these schools in each country, and they built like the basketball court and everything else, and the soccer facility there at the school there. So we brought them candy, and we gave them money because they're very poor, and this allowed them to buy certain things there. One of the unique things about that, it was on my birthday on March the 30th. And so they sang happy birthday to me both in English and in Spanish, which was real nice. And this young girl gave me a birthday card, and it's right here. I don't know, it's pretty hard probably to see, but she wrote everything in Spanish. And basically what it says here is that it says, I love you, my name is Jeannie. She says, happy birthday. And she's got these little pictures here, and it was kind of real nice that she gave it to me. So I had a copy of it, and I had somebody translate it. And once we left there, while we were on the bus going from the school to the airport, they served us this tea. It's very, very bitter. And what they do is they make it, it's cold, and they put it in this cup. And what they have is this straw. You can see it's kind of stainless steel here,
Right.
and it keeps the tea leaves out, so you just drink it like this here.
Okay.
And it's bitter, but it wasn't bad. It was pretty good. So I bought it, and so this was kind of a nice little souvenir anyways, because it's got Argentina on there, and this is the tea that you have in there. It's pretty tasty.
But it's got a strainer built right into
yeah,
the...
Bill, you don't suck up the leaves or anything like that, so you got the strainer right at the end of it here.
That's
so
great.
it's kind of neat, yeah. So flying into Buenos Aires, which is called the Paris of South America, they have these wide boulevards. They're 6 and 7 lanes wide. I mean, it's just tremendously wide, and so many cars there. And again, once again, a beautiful city, very clean. We flew in there Monday, and on Tuesday they were going to have a strike of all transportation. So we decided to go to Uruguay. So the next day we went to the tourist bureau, and we got a ticket to go on the ferry to Uruguay, which was interesting there. It took over an hour and 15 minutes to cross the Rio de Plata River, and I didn't realize that the river, which starts somewhere in middle South America, it starts at about 1.25 miles wide. When it empties into the Atlantic Ocean, Buenos Aires is 140 miles wide. That's how wide it is, 40 miles wide.
Wow.
They say it's only about 6 feet deep near Buenos Aires there. So
That's incredible.
it is, and so we crossed the river. So this is where we had an opportunity to get another stamp on our passport for another country, for Uruguay.
Right.
And so it's really nice. It's a nice little town. It's called Colonia, Uruguay. And it's been ruled by both the Spanish and the Portuguese. They traded and had like 7 times. And you can see the architecture. The Portuguese are very bland versus the Spanish, which is very artistic, Moorish, and very nice.
Right.
And the most interesting part of the thing was the streets. When the Spanish were, they built the streets on a crown where the water ran down the side of the street.
Right.
The Portuguese built it this way. They actually tilted toward the center, so the water ran down the center of the street. So you saw different avenues of when these people were there between the Portuguese and the Spanish.
That's interesting.
Yes, it is. And so it's a country of only 8 million people. The biggest city is actually the capital, which is Montevideo, which is probably, I think, like 150 miles away from where we were at. It's very tranquil there, very peaceful. We had a nice lunch there. You could have a lunch in these old vehicles if you wanted to. They would serve you in a vehicle.
Really?
And we'll have some pictures.
Like the drive-in.
Well, yeah, you could just go sit in the vehicle and they would serve you a lunch in there. But we didn't do that. We sat on the outside in the cafe there, which was pretty good there. So, but it's a nice town, very tranquil. A little expensive if you buy some property there. They have homes that are up to $1 million, but you're on the bay there.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it's compared to Australia, which you can pay up to $10 to $20 million. So I guess that's not too hateful.
Right.
So, but Uruguay was a nice country. It's very, very quiet, very serene, and really something to see there. So Uruguay was part of the trip. We took a side trip there, and then basically in Buenos Aires, naturally, once again, you'll find 4 or 5 major attractions. Firstly, the first one is the Plaza de Mayo, which is where the palace is, where Juan Perón and Eva Perón actually spoke from the balcony. It's
Right.
kind of a pinkish color, reddish pinkish color. And so that was in the background. And then there's a large cathedral there. And so we went in there, and they had these guards by this Virgin Mary statue, and it's a huge, huge church. And we only had about 20 minutes there, and there were some things going on. Some of the students were protesting. Some, I'm not sure what the protest
really?
was about. Yeah, so it was pretty good. So that was the main part of town there. And then we went into colonial style town, which they call the what was it, Caminito. Again, it's like an old barrio where there's, the working class live. And again,
Right.
you get multicolored buildings and things of that nature. Bought a few things there. It's kind of interesting. And then really the key one in Argentina is really the Recoleta Cemetery, where all the most famous people of Argentina are buried, the generals, and
Right.
Eva Perón is buried there also, and her mausoleum's there. There's something like 6,400 mausoleums there. It's over like 4 city blocks. All the streets are paved, the road, and all the mausoleums are huge. I mean, they cost tens of thousands of dollars. And you can look into these glass windows, and you can see the coffins in there. And they can go down 30 feet, straight down into the ground.
Really?
Yes, and then, but the main thing actually is see Eva Perón's mausoleum there, in which she died at the tender age of 42, I think, of cancer or something like that. But every day there's fresh flowers and everything there because they really pay tribute to Eva Perón, because she was from the working class people.
Right.
And she has got a big sign on one of the buildings on both sides where it's showing she was frowning, the other side where she was smiling. It lights up at night. We didn't see it, we only saw it in the daytime there. With the cemetery there, the Recoleta, which, where Eva Perón is buried, and her last name, her family name is Duarte, D-U-A-R-T-E. So that's on the mausoleum there, but you have a lot of plaques there which shows Eva Peron in her picture, and like I say, that they provide flowers and letters are there every day. They're brand new every day, so everybody pays homage to her because she was certainly for the working class people. Then we visited the Opera House there, which was very unique. It was right across the street from our hotel, and the neat thing about that, every bit of material that built that particular opera house came from Europe. Nothing was made in South America or any place.
Really?
And so it's very extravagant. Where the money came from back in the late 1800s is amazing. It's just all marble and furniture and paintings and chandeliers, and it's unbelievable. And we had an opportunity to spend about 20 minutes when they were rehearsing one of the operas.
Oh, really?
And the director was down there showing what the guy to do, and as he was singing that, and it was very interesting. I was moved by it. And after talking to Evelyn there, but I have to go see an opera now because it's kind of interesting. And then we went to a tango show. We had dinner and saw a tango show. I fell asleep for about 5 minutes, as my partner said. She said, "You fell asleep again, Jim," which I did.
You didn't tango?
No, we didn't have. No, we watched them do it. I mean, they're professionals. They do one heck of a job. And but the interesting thing about in Buenos Aires is that the official rate of changing money from American to Argentina peso is about 8.9 pesos to the dollar.
Okay.
But on the street, they have these people. They're called cambios, and they'll call our cambio, which means they will take your money and give you 12 pesos to the dollar. But you got to be careful because
is it real money?
Yes, it is.
Oh.
Because we had our tour guide. He went and got him. I gave him like a couple $100, so we got like 12 pesos to the dollar instead of 9 at the bank. So it's kind of interesting. They're all over the place on the main streets, and they almost know who you are as tourists. And they say cambio because they want you to exchange money. They make a little bit of profit by doing this, and they're like money lenders, I guess. So back in the old days, so it's kind of really interesting how they manage that and do these trading of dollars, you know, and have a different rate. They call it something like blue money or something like that. That's what they call it. And the last thing in Buenos Aires was there's a large statue, not statue, but a flower that opens up by hydraulic. It's like a big tulip. It's unbelievable. It's so huge, but they were working on it because the hydraulic system was down for some reason. They were fixing it, but it's just a fabulous thing to see when you go to Buenos Aires. It's in the park there. So that was kind of the situation in Buenos Aires. And then we flew now from Buenos Aires to Santiago, which is another city. Now we're in Chile. So once again, we flew there. The city lays at the base of the Andes Mountains, and so one of the things we did there was go to the top of San Cristobal Hill, which has another panoramic view of Santiago, and they have a similar statue like Christ the Redeemer in Rio. And we went to the top there, and again, a beautiful look of the whole city there. The interesting thing there, what I liked the best, was the changing of the guard. It was over an hour, and they had all these people come. They had a band, they had like 2 regiments of people, they had cavalry, and they came out and did the whole change of the guard. It took over an hour in all their uniforms. There's only like 4 women in there. There's 3 that actually went in and changed their guard and came out, and 1 was in the band. There's only 4 of them.
Really?
So that's all there was, and all the rest were men. But the cavalry, the horses, and it was very moving. It was really something to see the change of the guard there. And too bad there. And one of the things we did that I do is buy these custom, it was Starbucks. In every country I go to, I buy these cups, and I give them to my son. He saves them. So, and the ones in Chile were the least expensive, which is the one I think down to the other end there. It was like $6, and these are like $14
really?
Here. And they got some nice views on there.
That's
from
a pretty
a
good deal for
$6. Yeah, for sale. We bought some of these for presents for some of the people here. And but these were like $14 in Argentina, in Brazil. So that was, we bought like, I think I bought 4 of them. My traveling partner, she bought 4 of them also, so give out as gifts. It was kind of nice there. So then we went to the town of Valparaiso. So like Valparaiso, Indiana.
Right.
It's an old town on the coast, and the reason you got two major cities in Chile was the fact that Valparaiso was on the Pacific side, and because it would be attacked by various people, so they moved the capital to Santiago. Okay. So Valparaiso, it's a beautiful city once again. Took 2 hours to drive there from Santiago on a bus. We went through wine country, which Chile has a lot of famous wine there. And so we went there, and one of the things we saw were these cable cars, because the city sits way on top of a hill, and there's like 14 of these cable cars that actually take people down or up to the top of the city there. And once again, they have a lot of murals on the buildings, and a lot of paintings of it. Just incredible. We'll see again some of these in the video as we put them in the video there, and it's just amazing how much the art that's done there, and it's so beautiful. I mean, and clean. That was the interesting part about that, you know. And and then we had a chance to go to what they call indigenous handicraft place, but that was in Santiago, where you can buy almost anything there made by the local people. Right. It was kind of neat there, and so Santiago, nice city, but I would rather spend more time in Valparaiso. There was more to see there.
Okay.
Santiago is very cosmopolitan, very moving, and very just like one of our major cities. You know, it's really kind of a neat place, and so. Okay, then from Santiago, now we fly to the Easter Islands.
Now
and,
you get
oh
some
my
really
gosh,
interesting
yeah.
stuff, huh?
This is really interesting. I thought this place only was about an hour off the coast of Chile. It's a 5.5-hour flight by airplane.
You're kidding me.
To the Easter Islands.
Really?
Yes, and it's what they call, it's called Rapa Nui, and or actually in Spanish it's called Isla de Pascu. But then when the original settlers sent there, they were called a Tipito o Tihena, which is the navel of the world. They call the belly button of the world the navel of the world.
Right.
Because it sits in the Pacific Ocean in the middle. You've got Santiago, which is almost 2,400 miles this way. Tahiti is about 2,800 miles this way. And Hawaii, I don't know what it is, probably about 3,000 miles away. So it's at the corner of the Polynesian Islands there, basically.
So it's just kind of like in the middle.
It's the middle of the ocean. It's nothing else around. I mean, it's almost like 2,500 miles to the nearest other place that you could come to. They got one runway in there. They have, our plane comes in once a day and goes out. About 350, 60 people come in and go out every day. There are other flights I think come from other countries, but not other countries, but maybe another island or something like that, but it's mostly rare. The island was discovered by 7 warriors. They were sent by these 2 brothers in Polynesia. They warred, and one had to leave the island, so he sent out 7 discoverers to find a new place to live. So we'll talk about that a little later. And his name was the Arki Hotu Matu. He was a defeated brother of the other brother, so he had to leave the island.
So had to get out of town.
He had to get out of town, right. And kind of a little history of Easter Islands that around 400 to 500 AD, the people arrived in Rapa Nui. And then about 1000 AD, the expansion happened there where they actually built these Moai statues.
Right.
And then around 1680, then there was what they call the Huri Moai phase, which there was destruction, there was wars, there was famine, they were fighting each other, there was cannibalism, and then the island went down to less than 100 people.
Wow.
And so it was inhabited for quite some time until the British or Dutch explorer by the name of Jacob Roggewijn came in and discovered the Easter Islands. And in 1888, the government of Chile overtook the island and said, "This is my territory." So the Chilean Navy went there and said they claimed it for Chile. So that's how Easter Islands is part of Chile. One of the unique things about Easter Islands is the fact that they had this one ceremony they called the Birdman ceremony that there was a lot of clans on the island, and they would take the best athlete they have from each clan, and then what they have to do is to swim across this channel. There was like these 3 little islands out there.
Right.
They have to retrieve a special bird's egg, then bring it back, and they would become the religious power for the next year. They have to bring it to the king. And I mean, you had to be a very good athlete to do that because there's quite a ways out there in the water there to swim across, get a special bird egg, and then bring it back. So it's kind of interesting there that they did that. Currently, the island has about 5,000 inhabitants. It's actually the island. You can look at it here. We'll take a quick look at it here. Here's the island here. And if you notice, it's triangular in shape. The reason for that, there are 3 volcanoes on there that are now currently dormant. And you can see evidence of the crater. We once saw a couple of craters there that are on the island. And the most famous part, certainly, of Easter Islands is the famous Moai statue, which I think is our background here. They were actually erected in 1993. And what happened was there was a tsunami came through and knocked them all down, and then there was a Japanese crane company come in there, and they erected the statues.
Right.
And they got a slogan from them, "We bring back history." And they used it as a slogan on their campaign of selling this equipment. Right. So they funded the whole thing, the Japanese, and they have a little thing there, recognizing what they did there. And these 15 Moais actually on a platform that is about 600 feet long, and it's spelled A-H-U. I don't know how to pronounce it. Maybe just ah. That's
Yeah.
It's the platform they set these Moais on. And all the Moais on the island, there's over 900 of them, and there's still 400 in the quarry that are still in various stages that when they start to carve them out.
Right.
And you can see one that laying flat there, and then sometimes they did them vertical. They ran them like a keel, and then it would break off and they would roll down the mountain. And then they would actually do the final features. They would dig a hole, erect the Moai statue and do the final face, and then move it from there to the ocean or to the seashore. Right. And they're always parallel to the water, or maybe in some cases they were in some astronomical setting, depending on what it was. But all the Moai statues face inland. They actually look over the people who died or descendants, so they always face inland. So except the ones that are at Akivi, which there are 7 Moai statues, they face the ocean. And the reason for that was the 7 discoverers who actually discovered the island, which that brother came over, and they landed at Akina Beach there. and this is where they started, and then it started to grow. You say back in 400 to 500 there.
How big are these statues?
Well, they go from anywhere from 1 meter, 3 feet high to I think it's 70 feet high, and they weigh from 30 to 90 tons. So I can't imagine how they moved it from the quarries, which to the coast, which is maybe 3 or 4 miles in most cases or longer.
Right. Right.
And how they moved them, there's some mystery in how they erected them. They said what they did is they had ropes tied to the statue, and as they lifted up, they put stones in it as a wedge and kept raising them. And the last part was they had these red hats. They call them the a top knot, and it's a red hat. It's adorned from another quarry, which is large and round, and they're called pakau. And they adorn the statues. They're not on all the statues, but again, you'll see, I don't know if there's one in the 15 here, but you'll see them on the 7 moais. There's, I think, 3 of them there. And they put them on there to adorn the statues. And the only place that has the original eyes, which are white, is in the British Museum. There's none available on the island, but they do have one of these statues. They put the white eyes in there. So it's there, but it's not the original. They have lost them all because of the tsunamis that came through there. And so that was... they're not there anymore, so.
Pretty interesting though.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice quiet town. And then there, when I was telling you about the beer here, I went to the store there, and the darn beer was cheaper than the Coke that I bought. And so I bought the beer. It was a lot better and tastier. I figured, well, heck, I'll have a beer instead of Coke.
Well, you know, after the show, Jim, I think we ought to pop these two, don't you?
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, put them on ice or something like that, yeah. So that's the Easter Islands. And like I say, it's really a unique place to visit. You know, again, it's one of those heritage place, you know, that they preserve today. And one thing I want to say about the Easter Islands also is that the United States actually lengthened their runway in Easter Islands because if there was ever any NASA problem with one of the spacecrafts, that was an emergency landing for Easter Islands.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and they lengthened the island. It was a good thing because the 787 we flew on probably needed all that runway to make it happen. So we can just, with that, we can say, here's a few things that we picked up on the island here. Well, these are actually the shot glasses here. Here's one from Argentina here, and there's one from Uruguay, and they actually painted them here. These are from the Easter Islands, which is Rapa Nui, which is the island. And basically, there's 4 languages that are spoken on the island. There's Rapa Nui, French, Spanish, and English. And then these are the Moai statues. These are what they call the onyx statues here. And so I bought 5 of them. My grandson has 2 of them right now. And they were pretty inexpensive. Like I say, they're like $2 a piece. They're nice. I like them made a chess set out of them, but so they're kind of neat there. And actually, we saw the various cups from Starbucks, and this is a sign from Rio de Janeiro, which is the Rio sign here for 2015. And I think I remember saying that that's where the Olympics will be held in 2016.
Right.
And they were doing a lot of preparation for the Olympics that's going to occur there. And unfortunately, I took some rocks from the island. I'm not sure I'm supposed to do that, but here's some rocks there, but it's nothing unusual. But it's a nice little town there. It's very quiet. We ate fish probably 90% of the time. Very good fish. Basically, what the people do on Easter Islands, they just do either surfboarding or boogie boarding, and there's not a whole lot of the inhabitants there, but they control the island because if you go into where the Moai statues are, they have a rope there. You must pass them. Before they let you in, they will find out who you are and things of that nature. They don't want to have the island overrun, and they've stopped the immigration there from coming in because a lot of the people from Chile want to move there. So they want to keep around 5,000 people because if they don't, I mean, it could be inundated. And the tour guide said the price were going to be like 25 to 30% higher. We didn't find that to be true. It was pretty reasonable. And you know, and there was cars on there, which I was really surprised. They had some new cars on there. I don't know why. An island's got about 18 miles of highway. That's all there is. But they had some good 4-wheel vehicles. It must be the rich people that came from Chile or somewhere.
Probably.
But it's very, very clean and easily walkable. Thinking about that, they had another cemetery there, which in the island there, they're very ornate. They actually have these plots, and they have them all decorated with little altars, and they have like turtles that are on the gravesite, and flowers, and benches where they can sit there and actually maybe spend some time with the past or something like that.
Jim, we're just about out of time. We're going to have to wrap it up here. But boy, I'll tell you what, this has really been an interesting trip.
There's a lot to see, unfortunately, and a lot to cover, but it was a very good trip. Really enjoyed it.
It's fantastic. Well, thanks for joining us on Active Living.
Thank you
and
again, George.
What's your next tour?
South Africa.
Oh, my goodness.
So that'll be another great country. We're going to see Victoria Falls there. We'll have to measure how that compares to the rest of them.
All right.
Good.
Thank you for listening, folks.